What's up, Zaxius? Good to see you, sir. What's up, Obsidian Intro? Good to see everybody today. With the finale of Cooking with Frag, I'm doing something very simple, something that's dear to me. Call it a staple for me, something I love. Red beans and rice, a complete protein, very tasty. I had to do a little bit of pre-cooking for this show, which I usually don't. I had to cook the beans and start the rice, because brown rice takes about 40 minutes or so. I don't have that much time to fill. We'll talk about how to cook beans shortly. Mine are already cooked. If you're cooking whole beans, I'll just pull out. I used red beans. These are black beans, of course. If you're cooking beans and they're raw like this, you have to do one of two things. There's two methods to soften them before you cook them. You can leave them soaked overnight under water in the fridge, which is probably the best and most consistent way to do it, if you remember to. If you forget to do that, all you have to do is put the beans in water, bring them to a boil, put a lid over it, and let it sit for 1 hour, and then switch out the water and cook them that way. I find the texture is much better if they do the overnight soak method. Of course, you can use canned beans as well, but I think fresh beans taste a lot better. So for today, I have brown rice on the stove. I have beans already cooked. The longer you soak them, the less they're going to take to cook. It said on the package it would take 1.5 hours to 2 hours. It only took about 45 minutes, but I did soak them at room temperature for about 9 hours. So for today, I'm just going to use some of my leftovers, which is what I usually do with red beans and rice. I have spinach, cilantro, and garlic, and then we'll just butter it up, salt and pepper, and I'm going to really enjoy my meal because I very much enjoy red beans and rice. Stuff is amazing. And I did rice on previous Cooking with Frags. Rice is very easy. If you don't know how to cook rice, just do it. All you really have to do is get the water ratio right, bring it to a boil, put it on a very low heat with a lid on it, and don't touch it. That's all you have to do. Alright. See how this spinach held up. Not too shabby. Give that a quick rinse. Risotto is a little different. I actually did a Cooking with Frag risotto. It's on YouTube. Risotto is a little more complicated, though. Not hard. Well, the nice thing about red beans and rice is, one, it's incredibly cheap to make. Two, it fills you up. And three, you can do really whatever you want with it. There's no real limitations to cooking it. You can add all sorts of seasonings and herbs. I'm a big fan of herb, butter, salt, and pepper myself, which is exactly what we're going to do here. It's just what I had left over that's going to go bad if I don't use it. Cilantro, spinach, and garlic. Yeah, risotto is easy, but yes, it does require patience. That's a fact. Okay, so for this garlic, I'm going to cut a little flat edge off, so we have a flat area, so I don't cut myself. It's kind of a weird clove of garlic. It tried to split in two and didn't quite get there, so I'm not going to get the nice sheets that I want. That's okay. See if I can find a decent way to stack this stuff up. Should probably grab a bowl as well. Having a bowl while you're working is very effective for getting rid of all your scraps and trash and stuff. Keeps your cutting board a lot cleaner. If you work in a kitchen, you always have a waste bin next to your station. And it's not something you sometimes think about as a home cook, but if you're taking time to walk over to the garbage can every 20 seconds to get stuff off your cutting board, it wastes a lot of time. Alright. Cut this into little strips. And then into little cubes. I've said this many times on the show, but garlic is incredibly acidic, so as soon as you're done cutting garlic, make sure you rinse your knife with water. If you leave garlic juice on your knife, it will start corroding the blade much quicker than it would normally go. You may not see any effects on the knife. Your knife's not going to fall apart, but it will lose its edge much quicker. Such weird shapes today. Alright. Kind of just mangle this all together, make it happen. Elephant garlic's really mild, so I end up using a lot. Well, not to mention I absolutely love garlic, so I don't think I've ever eaten anything and I was like, man, that is too much garlic. Not once. Okay, we'll mince that in just a second. Yep, time to get my knife sharpened. Alright, that should do nicely. Never use your knife to scrape stuff across your cutting board. That is the #1 way to dull out your knife, and it will happen very quickly if you use it as a scraping tool. So I'm just going to scoot all this stuff over. Get a nice little pile, rinse off my hands. So when it's going to go over beans, if you're going to cook raw beans, you have to either soak them or do the hot soak method. The soaking method, you leave them submerged in a lot of water overnight in the fridge, or you can do the hot soak, which is you put them in water, bring it to a boil, put a lid on it, and let it sit for 1 hour, then switch out the water and cook them that way. Alright, so we're going to do very simple: garlic, butter, cilantro, spinach, red beans, brown rice. It's a very simple meal. It is so cheap to cook red beans and rice, and it's incredibly filling, complete protein, delicious. Alright, so for this spinach, I'm not going to use the stems here because the stems have a lot more of that earthy flavor to them. It's not a bad thing, especially if you're wilting them down, but I'm not really here, so I just want the leaf portion. A little bit of stems okay, but I don't want any big, gnarly chunks. If you buy spinach in the store, it's usually cut off right about there, but the spinach stems are very long. And they are full of flavor, so if you want a lot of spinach flavor, the stems are usually where it's at. Same thing with like cilantro. You usually see the stems removed, but the majority of the flavor is in the stem itself. I'm going to kind of do a rough chop on this. Spinach cooks down to almost nothing, so I could have a giant mountain of spinach and it would still equal not that much. I do find spinach to be a little bit overpowering if you use too much, but some people really love the taste of spinach. I do like spinach, just not when it's the star of the dish, in most occasions. Alright, got that all rough chopped. I think I'm going to use about, let's say half. We'll just rip off the leaves like so. I think we're going to need a little more than that. Still want to see chunks of leaf. Don't want to mince it up completely. I try not to mince my herbs ever when I'm putting them into a dish. It's nice if you get some whole leaf on your palate and don't have to worry about it. But the herbs and the spinach will be added at the end, because if you overcook the herbs or the spinach, it changes the flavor of them. General rule with fresh herbs is you want to add them at the end of the cooking process for almost all things. Okay. Put this right here for now, get my cutting board a wipe, and then we'll get started. Onion would also be very good in here, but I don't have any onions, so not going to use any. Alright, I'm going to do a cardinal sin here. I think my temperature on my rice might not have been correct. You want it to be at the lowest simmer possible. I'm not as used to the stove yet. I haven't cooked too much rice on it. And there's different size burners, so I'm not sure exactly, and I don't want to burn the bottom. So we're going to uncover the rice, which is what you're not supposed to do. Okay, we're right about on pace. Timer says I have about 4 minutes left. I think that's about correct. Yeah, I just dice the onion into it. If I was going to do onion, I would add it with the garlic at the start and just get it to a shimmery quality. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon of butter or so and get that melting down. I'm going to go on a lower temperature while it melts. Smush it down a little bit. It's a cardinal sin of cooking rice to take off the lid. You're not supposed to, because it lets out moisture. You know, it's actually true, Reed. Every time I cook rice, I explain I'm not supposed to do that, and then I do it anyways. This is called a butter well, and I'll show you what it is. It's a way to keep your butter room temperature. So it's a thing full of water, and then you have your butter on the inside, and you put it down in there, and it makes a airtight seal, keeps the butter fresh. That way you can have room temperature butter without it going rancid. Alright. A decent amount of butter there. I'm going to add the garlic. I will always say that gas stoves are better because they hold their heat more consistently. The main problem with electric stoves is that the temperature fluctuation from one setting to another is extreme. So if you turn up the heat, it gets way too hot, too fast. Not to say that electric stoves are bad by any means, but if you've ever worked in a kitchen, you always work on gas stoves. So it's what you're used to. Do I have a... Okay, we'll use this then. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get a little bit of the, well, a lot of the garlic flavor into the butter. In fact, I'm going to add more butter. In the grand scheme of things, it's really not fatty at all. A tablespoon of butter is about 12 grams of fat, and I got a ton of beans and rice to work with. Alright, we're going to turn off my rice, kill the kitchen timer. Yes, do not burn garlic. You're much better off going on a lower temperature, in my opinion, on garlic. There's a difference between brown garlic and burnt garlic, and it's about 15 seconds. Brown garlic tastes amazing. Burnt garlic is one of the worst flavors in the world. If you burn your garlic when you're starting a dish, there is literally no recovery that can get rid of that flavor. It will permeate through anything that you cook and completely ruin your dish. It's called a butter well, Bucol. Oh, he's got a nice lazy simmer on this garlic. That smells good. Yeah, if you're trying to brown garlic, you need to stand over the pan constantly and be stirring it and watching and waiting for that moment when it turns brown. So if it gets past that, you're screwed. Honestly, garlic's really easy to work with. As long as you're not cooking on a super high heat, it's very easy. How much garlic? About a full clove of elephant garlic. So, I don't know, 5 or 6 cloves of regular garlic. Well, if you are looking for a butter well, you can do so here. I am positive that Amazon has butter wells. Alright, so now we're going to add our red beans. like a good amount of garlic. They're all nice and coated in butter. Mm. Mm. Salt. Pepper. That's a bummer. Alright, so the goal here is just to heat up the beans, really. We're not trying to do anything too crazy. Just trying to get them heated up. And then we'll add the spinach and cilantro. The reason we add the garlic first is raw garlic has this really bitter flavor to it. So if you cook it down just a little bit, it becomes a lot more mild. So you want to cook the garlic a little bit before doing it. If you added the beans first and the garlic, you'd have a hard time getting the garlic cooked. It's only $9 with free shipping. There you go. Buy yourself a Butterwell. It's a great thing. Alright, now we're going to give it a little taste and see where our salt level is. Nope. Needs more salt. We're going to kind of over salt the beans because the rice is going to be pretty bland. Where did that just land? Okay, we're good. Pepper level is nice, though. They're getting warmed up, though, which is good. Now we're going to take our big load of herbs and spinach. Yeah, go for it, Scooby. I'm actually going to add a little splash of water here as well. I prefer to use chicken stock, but I don't have any. So the beans are a little bit dry because I let them drain for so long. Like maybe a teaspoon and a half. And we'll let that cook down and adjust the seasoning one more time. We'll be ready to plate. Thank you, Mr. Jughead. Oh god, I'm gonna choke. I always get like a weird thing stuck in the back of my throat when I'm talking and trying to eat at the same time. Oh, yes. I am so excited to eat this. It's actually been a little while since I've had red beans and rice, but this is a great staple food. It's again incredibly cheap, incredibly easy to make, incredibly good for you. Welcome, Savage Saber. Appreciate it, sir. We'll be playing Binding of Isaac after the show tonight. I am on a 7-run losing streak, which might be one of my longest losing streaks ever. I need to break that for my own sanity. Alright, just a little bit more salt and we're there. Always taste your food as you go. It's the best habit you can get into when you're cooking is taste as you go. Season and re-season. Alrighty. Alright, almost there. So, start getting plated. Here's a little trick for you guys. You want to have a nice looking plate. Just take ramekin or little bowl, whatever, spray it with a little bit of Pam. Rub that around. Oil works as well, or butter, whatever you want to use. Then you can just spoon your rice or whatever other medium you have for grain into the bowl. Pack it down real good. There you go. It's witchcraft, I know. That works for all sorts of stuff. You can do it like a coffee cup. You can do it with cookie cutter, whatever you want. Once again, this will be the last episode before the challenge is done. I have a very good idea of what I want to do for Season 4 when the challenge is over. But this is going to be the last episode, so I end up with something that I really like making. And I love eating. Alright. Oh, yes. So that's my dinner using leftovers. Only cost less than a couple bucks to make that. I'm sorry, I'm working on the teleporter right now. I gotta raise more funding, Cali Joker style. But that is a very simple red beans and rice, salt, pepper, garlic, and my leftover cilantro and spinach. It's very versatile, red beans and rice. So all you have to do is, you can add anything to it. You can add your onions, garlic, any kinds of herbs, greens, whatever you have left. It's a great leftover filler. Cheese goes great as well. So that is it for today. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to load up the stream. Once again, playing Isaac tonight to kill my losing streak. Red beans. The reason I chose red beans is the complete protein is red beans and rice. No other type of beans provide a complete protein. They do provide good protein in conjunction with rice, but red beans and rice is a complete whole protein. Something you can actually live off of and makes you feel good. I am aware of the Cajun way to cook red beans and rice. Not as healthy, but yes, very good. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to watch today. I'll be back live in about 2 minutes, and I'll come back upstairs and eat and whatnot. But thank you all for being here. Be back shortly.